Good day, everyone. Last class we considered logo design, working with our shape and our text. Yeah, there are a lot more you can do with your logo design, and that area is blending option. Like after you have done your design, you can use blending option as into enhance the appearance. The blending option, just right click on the layer where you have the design, then you have your blending options. You have a lot of things to work with right there, and like I told you, you can use the blending option to enhance the appearance of your already made design. Just like what we had, the first one right there is bevel, and you can see the way it's coming out becoming more like a 3D thing. And I give it contour. If you check the effect of the contour is coming at the edges of those of the logo right there. Now you right click on that bevel and emboss. You see you have more options right there. You can see you can set your what was it called, your depth. You see you have styles right there, different type of styles, but I'm leaving it as an inner bevel so that we can get to see what we have right there. Let's leave it as per smooth. Then I'm increasing the depth level now. Now I'm going to be leaving the direction as seen up, then the size I will increase it. You're going to be seeing the effect of the bevel and emboss as I increase the size using the slider. Then the effects of the smooth, when I change it to chisel, how it comes out as in the different form as I increase the size of it. Well, you know, when it is done moderately, it's gonna be as in really okay. Gives you something really cool. See, it's a bit as in darker, and it's going into that black background I already have. That can be dealt with by using some other control. And I see as I switch between the direction up and down, you see what I have right there. All those are options you have. This is your angle as well. I can use to control the appearance of the design. You can just click around the circle, and you see the points, the cardinal points, like a cross, as in showing you as in the direction of the bevel and emboss on that logo. So that is one thing. Then you have another thing right there called gloss contour. The gloss contour, you see you have different type of the gloss contour. You have linear, as you can see, you have cone, inverted, you have cone deep, you have all others. So it's currently on linear, so you can just check around and see different appearance, different effects they have on your already made logo, the logo you have designed. So that is that. And you can see the highlight mode. You see all these are your blend mode. Your blend mode is currently in your normal. This blend mode can work, it works more on your images. You know, there is a logo. It's not as if it's not going to be having effect on logo. It will have that as well. So now see the opacity. The opacity for the highlight mode is what I am using right now. Probably if you have selected any of the available mode in that column, you can control the opacity using the slider. Likewise the shadow. If you reduce the shadow, you see it comes out clearer, as in the shadow is not going so deep. It won't go so deep and make it as in go into that black background. That is what the shadow mode opacity will do for you. And say there are other things you can consider, like the texture. You see the texture, what you have is giving you something like a rough surface, surface with a lot of big noises. You see, you right click on the texture and you have your options where you can like control the depth and the scale as well. Those are the things you can do right there. You have the slider right there to control it. Then you have the pattern. You have those patterns. You can like choose whatever pattern you want for that as well. You see, we have different pattern giving you as a different look on it. Yes, that's that with your texture. You have invert and link with invert. So by default, you're going to be having as in it on link with invert. So now we're checking our stroke. Our stroke is just like our outline that we're used to. You see, when you right click on the stroke, you're going to be having more options. Like now the default color is black and it's so tiny, and you see it's in black. And now you see it's on 3 pixels, so small. It's not if it's very small, it is there, but because the background is black, that is why it is not appearing. So I'll change the color to something brighter. Now let's consider something like yellow. You see it coming now right away. See it coming out right away. So that's that, and you can change the position inside, outside, and center. We have different position for the stroke. The center goes inward a little, then inside goes in. You won't see it at all. Then we have the outer. If we increase the the size, see it coming out as in so clear. It will have come out as the other bin we have a bigger size as in for it on out inside as well. So that's that with your stroke. I will uncheck it. Then you see we have with the inner shadow, we're going to be using that later. Then now you see we have our inner glow. The inner glow, it will give you an effect inward. You can like change the color for the glow. You see it's not really showing the size. If we change the size, if we increase the size and the opacity, we're going to be seeing it as a more on, and you see it coming out. The size is increased now. I reduce it a little bit. So see that's your inner glow for you. Then you have your contour as well, just like the previous contour we checked. We have something like that here as well, so you can use that as in to control it. Then you have your range. You can use your range to control as in the level as well. Like when you have it on the when you increase the size, if you do use the range as well, it will spread out on it, covering a large portion on it. If you reduce it, you see what it looks like. When you increase it, it will spread, kind of spread and reduce. So your jitter is having a very little effect of reduction right there. So your noise is just like you having as in an additional dot. You know, we already have the texture on it and we didn't remove the texture. So the noise will give you an additional stuff. So you see you have more options. If you click directly on that, you see you're going to be having more options and where you can like control it like your normal gradient. So you see I won't check it, then pick stain. When I pick stain, you see what I have on stain is a bit dark, and I can control it as well. The opacity, I increase it to 100% and is very dark. Very dark. The size, the distance and the size. So when I increase the distance, I'm having a different design entirely. And now the size is being increased as well. And likewise, you have contour there. I'll check it. These are the previous settings I have done for the stroke, the inner glow. Now I'm checking the color overlay. It will change the color to red by default. Everything you have right there will be changed to red by default. So you can like change the color to whatever color you wish to use by selecting, clicking on that, and select whichever color you want. You see what I have now? Something like golden yellow. So that's that way a color overlay. Can use to change color like normal. So your gradient overlay, if you know how to use gradient like we have used earlier on in the previous classes, you see you can like manipulate your gradient on this logo exactly the same way. So you can visit previous video if you have forgotten how to deal with that. That will guide you. So we have pattern overlay. Likewise, if you know how to use a pattern like we have treated before, say the same way you can deal with that the same way. That's that way a pattern. Then you have outer glow. See, if you right click on your outer glow as well, you see you can deal with it the way you have dealt with your inner glow earlier on. So that's that. Then your inner shadow, we're going to be using an image to demonstrate your inner shadow, your drop shadow rather, and your inner shadow. Sorry, that's what we're going to be using, as in we're going to be using a picture rather, to do that. You see what we have right away? This is a normal image on a particular background. You make sure you are on that layer for that image, then you right click on it. Right, you have your blending option to be chosen. So now I'm going to be selecting the inner shadow. When we say the inner shadow, is going to be dropping shadow inward, as in into that image. It's going to be as in very, very little at the edge, but you see when you right click, you have these options, then you can like spread it out the distance and cover everything. I want to use it to create something like a vector image now. So you see the size, I don't want to deal with the size, but it's not really dark like I want. I'm going to be using the opacity to control that. You see, when I increase the opacity to 97, you see what I have? I click OK, as in like, good. This is beautiful.
Yeah, as I was saying, we're going to be using the drop shadow on this, and before then I'll just do some little blending as in on this image now. And here it is, we apply my adjustments on it using a level, just to like now using curve rather. I'm going to be using curve. I just want it a bit darker. Curve, just to like blend it a little bit. So now I'll come back to the layer right here, and right click on the layer for this image, and click on blending options. You see, this is what I have now. For that, you can like choose the drop shadow now. And like I said earlier, that the drop shadow is basically used as in forecasting shadow on the wall or the floor. You right click on it, you see you have your more options as in coming out, and this time around I am going to be working on some few things right there. You see, when I increase the size of the shadow, is spreading out a little. The opacity, I will increase the opacity so that the shadow can be a bit darker. Then distance from the body, the distance of the shadow from the original body. Say the spread as well is another thing you can use as in to decide what your shadow will look like. See, it's so dark when you spread it, and it's looking like a vector image as well, like, but shadow cannot be as dark as this, you know that. So going to be reducing it so that it looks a bit blurry, and when it's a bit blurry it looks better and more like a shadow. Then you can distance it a bit, you can control the positioning of the shadow using the angle of direction right here. You can input value into this place if you want to know that. So the shadow has come to the front. This can be used to control the shadow, basically the shadow positioning, basically. So I think it's better when it comes to the front a little than a bit downward. I'm leaving it in 115 degree, basically. The spread, the opacity, reduce the opacity a little. Then now it looks more and more like a shadow properly. So that is that with your drop shadow, and that is all you have in your blending option. Thanks for watching.